Yellowstone is a place like no other on our planet. Since my first visit, when I was 7 years old, something has kept calling me back to this place. Maybe so I can remember that we are a part of something much bigger, something wild. As a filmmaker, I've always wanted to visit Yellowstone in the winter to capture its boiling rivers, frozen landscapes, and animal life from a perspective not usually seen by the general public. This was a trip I'd been looking forward to all my life. I drove into the small town of West Yellowstone, where I met up with my good friends and fellow filmmakers, Michael Brewer and David Boyd. Over the next 24 hours, we'd experience and capture in this film the beauty, power, and delicate balance between life and death inside Yellowstone National Park. At 6 a.m. the next morning, we waited for our ride to arrive in below freezing temperatures. We loaded up all of our gear and supplies into our new home and transportation, an old 1955 Bombardier snow coach for our journey into the wilderness of the park. As we traveled through the frost-covered pines, it dawned on me that we had not seen another vehicle or person since entering Yellowstone. We had this place to ourselves. We explored the Madison River, following it up winding canyons where we hoped we'd start seeing signs of animal life. A river in a place like this can be covered in ice. But due to the surrounding hydrothermal activity, the Madison and Firehole rivers gives life to an abundance of creatures that thrive upon its banks during the harsh winter months. Not long after we arrived on the banks of this river, we witnessed a hard truth about life in Yellowstone: that death is always nearby. Out of nowhere, a pack of wolves emerged from the pines, startling the herd of buffalo we were filming as they grazed along the misty river. In a panic, the herd stampeded, forcing us to take shelter in the snow coach. These massive bison covered a large amount of ground in just seconds. However, not all of them were lucky enough to escape the wolves. During the commotion of the stampede, a baby bison was attacked while crossing the river. Its mother, helpless, watches over her injured young, now stuck in the river, while the pack of wolves circle. Slowly, the wolves approach, knowing that their next meal is within reach. That's the thing about death out here. As tragic as it can be, it's also a big part of life. This place has a magic of its own. It's something we all individually experienced while we traveled the snow-packed back roads of the park that day. This has been a once-in-a-lifetime trip, and I'm thankful my amazing friends were able to join me on this adventure. Seeing the way that David and Michael captured the same scenes, but in their own style with the same gear, emphasizes how important teamwork can be. David's style grabbing unique moments as they happen is inspiring. I noticed how he'd always be one step ahead of what he anticipated shooting, always having the right lens ready. Being able to capture a moment unrehearsed is unique, and a definitive theme of his work. Michael comes from a traditional filmmaking background, but he's adapted this to be able to work in outdoor conditions, changing light with minimal gear while still achieving a cinematic look on everything that he shoots. We've been on a lot of trips together over the years, and I'm always impressed by what he can capture by choosing the right gear and understanding his environment. As the sun began to set over Yellowstone that night, each of us were grateful for the experiences we had during our brief time there. Before the cold night closed in, and while we still had enough gas to make it back to town, we took one last ride through the pines and followed the river back down through the canyons to return back to the real world once again. At the end of the day, the most important thing I learned on this trip is that filmmaking at its core is about people, experiencing and capturing the amazing world around us. And most importantly, developing lifelong friendships with talented people.